Good morning, beautiful people. Hello from Kotor, a small town in Montenegro with just 20,000 inhabitants, but so rich in history and so beautiful that actually it convinced me to make a video for you guys after more or less 2 years, I guess. So many empires fought for this place and none of those empires exist anymore, but the one that left the most influence were the Venetians, and the truth is that they didn't even have to fight for this place. And what happened and how beautiful this place is, I mean, stay with me and I'll show you around. Now, while I'm walking down to the old town, I do want to say a few things to my subscribers. I don't have that many subscribers and I don't really have that many videos, but what surprised me is in the last 2 years I did get in touch with few people from YouTube who are actually asking me like, hey, are you still gonna do videos? What's going on? Like, are you filming? Like, when is the next video? And like, this really surprised me because I didn't really expect that anything like that could happen, especially when I have like just few videos. So I was actually shocked, and the reason why I wasn't posting and sharing anything is it's really hard to do videos. I mean, not to actually edit them and to make them, but to actually talk in front of a camera. I mean, I'm literally talking to myself right now, but I just have to convince myself mentally that I'm actually talking to someone who is real. I mean, you, the audience, and that's really awkward. If you don't believe me, just try it yourself. Like, just take a camera, take out your phone and go out and just start talking. And it's really hard. And yeah, I'm sorry about all of that, but I will actually try to post a bit more often because I do travel a lot and I do see a lot of amazing things, and I would like to share them. And yeah, sorry about that, but I'll try to be a bit better. Yep, we're here in front of the fortress. So this is basically the beginning of the old town, and here are some small history lessons from what I heard and what I read. No one really knows exactly when this town was founded, but maybe the interesting parts of the history start around the First Bulgarian Empire, which conquered these lands and ruled them for a bit. At that stage, around that time, during Tsar Samuil's reign, a lot of Slavic tribes migrated to the area, and before that there were, I assume, Illyrians, like an ancient old tribe, really strong tribe, which maybe is the people of the ancient Illyrians, or maybe the modern day Albanians, who knows. And the Bulgarians ruled for a bit, but then obviously the empire fell, and then what empire replaced this area and conquered it was the Serbian Empire during Stefan Nemanja. And this empire ruled for a couple of centuries, I assume, and even more Slavic tribes moved to those lands, plus the Orthodox spread even more in these areas. And after the rule of Stefan Nemanja in the Serbian Empire, obviously this empire also collapsed, and then the Ottomans arrived on the Balkans. And obviously this town has been, during that history, even before that, most of the times it was a free town, and it was a trade town most of the times. And what did the people want to do at that stage? Well, there was the threat of the Ottomans incoming in the 14th century. And what they actually did was they asked the Venetian Republic to just come and rule them, you know, and protect them. So they actually saw the threat, and the people who were predominantly Orthodox in that time, they just like said like, hey, we actually want like Catholic rulers to come and rule over us. And back then religion was really important. So yeah, the Venetians, I guess, said yes, I assume. And from I think 1412 20, so 15th century, until basically the 19th century, for 350 years the Venetians ruled this beautiful area, and they actually built this town and city that we see today. For the Venetians, this was a strategically important place, because if you see it on Google Maps, you would actually see that this is not really the sea, but it's a bay, and it's called Bay of Kotor, or in Serbian or Montenegrin it's called Boka Kotorska. And this bay is very different than most of the bays, because it's surrounded by really massive rocky mountains, and it actually looks like fjords in a way. And the entry for the ships to come is very narrow, very small, so they would be able to protect themselves easily by just standing on the mountains or the hills and attacking everyone who comes, because there is only one way for you to come in. And going through the mountains is also really, really hard. So this place was in a way very hard to conquer. That's why it was also easy for them, in a way, more or less, to rule for 350 years, until basically the Republic just fell apart, and then Austro-Hungarians conquered this area for a while. Now, what was the demographics of this place? I mean, as I mentioned, there were ancient Illyrians here ruling for a while and living for a while, probably for a lot longer than the Slavic tribes, but during the First Bulgarian Empire, which didn't last that long, and the Serbian Empire, which ruled for a couple of centuries, a lot of Slavic tribes arrived on these lands and changed the demographics of the area. They also brought Orthodox Christianity, and it was predominantly Orthodox Christian area until the Venetian Republic. Then things started to change. Now, I don't have information of how many Italians, or I mean today modern day Italians, or back in the days Venetians, moved to live here, but for a period of time there were more Catholics than Orthodox Christians. And we're talking about 70% Catholics and maybe 20-30% Orthodox. And so that kind of means that either a lot of the population converted for some reason, or a lot of Italians or Venetians moved here and became the dominant group. Now, this thing changed again in the early 20th century, where actually in the late 19th century more Serbs moved to the areas, changing again the Christian majority here and making it more or less Orthodox again. And in the early 20th century it was mostly Orthodox here, while there were maybe like 20% Catholics, while now I think there are even less Catholics. And now there, if you actually check on Wikipedia, it says that there are just like, yeah, a few hundred real Italians who live here. So many of them moved out in the 20th century, or I think after the First World War. So yeah, that's another interesting thing, and I hope you found it interesting. For me it really was. Now what you see here is basically the main square or maybe the first square that they ever built. And what you see right there, this small bit, this was like a small monument where they would put people who would do like small robberies or crimes or whatever. They would just put them right there to, in a way, be exposed to everyone for their shameful act. And this is how actually, with time, you know, people became probably a lot better and didn't do crimes, because no one would want to actually stand here the whole day or maybe the whole week and just suffer while everyone sees them. Because if you're a small businessman, for example, and you try to scam someone and they actually put you here, then you can forget about your business. You actually would even have to move out of this town. And where else would you go? Because this was like a wealthy place, so you would obviously want to have a decent life. So the quality of services and people's morality became even better by just having this small thing where they would actually put people and embarrass them for their horrible act. Cool stuff. Now, after the Venetian Republic fell apart, the Austro-Hungarians conquered those lands, and what they did, or at least what I know that they did, was they changed the fortress a bit more, and they built this massive thing on top, like a fort or whatever. What they changed in the fortress was they added additional small holes, even smaller, for rifles, so if someone actually comes, they would be able to shoot. And after the First World War, the empire disappeared pretty much, and I'm not sure, but I think it became part of Yugoslavia. Since then, until recently, it was part of Yugoslavia, which included Serbia, Croatia, Slovenia, Macedonia, and Bosnia in one country. But in 2006, I think, they decided to vote in a referendum, and Montenegrins decided to be an independent country and split from Serbia. And now they're a free country and they decide for themselves, more or less. Now, don't be afraid if you see stray cats here. They're not really stray. They're street cats, but they're citizens of this place. And the cats here are a symbol of the town. And long time ago, with the ships, when the Venetians were trading, a lot of rats came, and basically this place was plagued by rats. But then they imported a lot of cats, and the cats multiplied and then took care of the rats, and now the rats are gone, and the people left the cats as well because they didn't need them anymore, and the cats started to live a normal life here, and they seem very happy. And you might actually find a lot of souvenirs of cats here, and if you ever come here, just buy something like some souvenir that is related to a cat, because this is really the symbol of this place. Now, this church behind me used to be a Catholic church built by Venetians, and it was a Catholic church for a very long time. But then they changed it to an Orthodox church because most of the people living here were Orthodox at some point. But later, or recently, they actually changed this to be a mix of Catholic and Orthodox churches. And when people from a mixed, when they want to do a mixed marriage, like a Catholic and an Orthodox, from this area, they will actually just come and marry here, because it's a place for everyone, and they want to show the unity that actually Catholics and Orthodox can live together, and that's actually quite cute. And the church here that you see is purely an Orthodox church, and it was there's nothing really historical about this church. I mean, it was built like 100 years ago, which kind of makes it historical already, but I think it was built by Serbs. And inside, when you go inside, it's not a typical Orthodox church with the Orthodox icons on the wall, but and the ceiling, but it's a bit different. It's more like art, and it was designed in a way to show that actually the Orthodox people can do something different than the classical, traditional Byzantine style icons. And it's really different, it's really special. I don't know if I can film inside. I might actually try to sneak in, but don't do this. Or if you actually don't see a video, then I haven't done it because I didn't have the balls. Well, no one really bothered me, so there you have it, some small footage of the church. So enough about history and all of these fairy tales that you can read everywhere. I would like to share my thoughts and feelings about this place. So at the beginning I was like, wow, 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 wow. But then I managed to gather my thoughts and say a few things about this place. And I think the old town is really small. Like you can actually explore it in 40-50 minutes. But every street is so unique and so cute, and overall the town itself is just so full of history, and there is so much heritage and so much beauty in it that there is not much for me to say besides that it's just amazing. It's really something that I didn't expect to see. It's so beautiful, it's so cute, the people are so friendly and nice, and there is just like also the nature, the area around this town is just so incredible. Like it's something that you just cannot see anywhere, like, or at least I haven't seen anywhere yet. And all the area around Kotor is also really full of history, and there is so much heritage. It's not just Kotor. You can just take a boat, for example, and 10 minutes farther there is Perast, another beautiful old town, and just across Perast there is a small man-made island which is super nice, and it's more than 1,000 years old, the whole area here. And actually no, it's around 700 years, so I'm sorry about that. I would say, like, if you ever come here, first of all, don't come in July and August. It's packed with people. Come like now around end of June, for example, or maybe end of May. Also, you can come end of September. The weather is still gonna be nice, and you would be able to actually breathe, because when there are too many tourists, then it's really not fun. Another thing that I could say is, like, just come for a week. I mean, don't come for a day or two. Many people who actually come on those cruisers, the big ships, they they come here and they realize how nice it is, and they just regret the fact that they are here for like a night or two. So just if you are from Europe, come with a car and explore the area, not only this place but also beyond. I spent a full week just in Kotor, and I really enjoyed it. I wish I had more time, but I also realized that I need a car. I mean, it would be so amazing to explore the surroundings, to go up and down. There's so many activities like hiking, like swimming. There is also a blue cave just 15 minutes with a boat from here. There is just so much to see, and I think I have to come back here again, and probably I'll come next year, I hope. And that's all I can say for you guys. Another thing is, like, there's so many amazing people here in this small town of just 20,000 people. There are so many artists and so many sculptors and creators, people who make nice things, and everything is handmade pretty much that they do. There is no like some massive industry for souvenirs. If you actually see something that you can see in other shops as well, this is usually imported maybe from China or whatever. What I would tell you guys is, if you come here, just go to these small souvenir shops, ask what is local, like what is made by the local people, and support it, because the prices are really decent, and you support those small artists and creators who actually rely on in a way your income to continue their art. And there is just so much, so many small souvenirs and things that you can buy, and I wish I had more space in my bag to actually buy more. That's why I'm gonna come another time again, and that's my recommendation. Just come and buy local stuff. And yeah, there is not much for me to say besides just come, not in the hottest days, and I hope you enjoy your time here. And what I can promise you guys is we'll see each other very, very soon, hopefully somewhere else, probably not in Montenegro, but maybe in Germany, maybe beyond Germany, maybe even beyond Europe. But we'll see each other soon, and have fun.